Hump Day, Lucky Lefty Podcast. The Onora boys are in the building, brought to you by Onora Whiskey. OnoraWhiskey.com. It's that premium American whiskey, OnoraWhiskey.com. And if you drink, by all means, make sure that you do so. You
Responsibly.
got to do it responsibly, man. Big show today. We're going to talk about 1A and 1B.
1A and 1B.
1A and 1B. We see it on championship rosters. Will Notre Dame be able to develop that? And then on top of that, we're going to talk about each position and what player needs to rise to the top
That's right.
And be the dog in that room.
Because it can only be one.
It can only be one dog, man. It can only be one dog. And then we're going to talk about the coaches. We have new hires. We talked about the continuity of the coaching staff, even with the new hires.
That's right.
There's some coaches under the microscope, in my opinion, left.
Are you talking about assistant coaches?
Oh, yeah, some assistant coaches on this staff that are under my watchful eye.
Okay.
This season.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going to tap into that.
Both sides of the ball?
Yeah, because I think, the coaching staff came together late last year. And we kind of gave them a pass, right? Because we knew they didn't have a full year. We applauded them for their efforts in recruiting, coming in on a short year and being able to bring in a top 10 class. It's like, okay, cool. Second year now. Some things to dig into, some numbers to dig into. You're pretty high because of your relationship with Coach Biaggi. He got some big shoes to fill, dude. Brian Mason didn't exactly leave a legacy of bad. Well, let's put it like this: it's a total 180 from Brian Polian at Notre Dame.
What was he there for?
And Brian Mason. Brian Mason was only there for 1 year.
Yeah, so I mean, it's not too big of shoes you got to fill. He was only there for a year.
No, the production, when you have teams literally not wanting to put special teams on the field because that's the only way Notre Dame can score. Dude, continuing that is an expectation. It's not even an expectation from the fan base. The players recognize the stark difference in the special teams. And you saw the excitement of how many starters wanted to be part of special teams and how many players on the roster wanted to be part of special teams, which was a totally different vibe than other years at Notre Dame. So it's not us that's putting the expectation on a new special teams coach. The players in the locker room expect Notre Dame special teams. They expect to go out and block punts. You don't think the players expect to go out and block more punts this year after doing it last year?
Well, I think your mindset changes a little having a new coach. And for a guy to only be there a year, I don't think is that much influence that you can really have. Yeah, you had a successful year, but if you're only there for one season, I mean, for a Notre Dame time span, that's even fast. So I think that for Coach Biaggi to come in, and obviously he has to go in and initiate his way of doing it. I think whenever you go into a situation like that, you got to initiate how your way of doing it is at the expectation or better. And he's a good enough guy to where I think guys can get behind that. Are we looking for the same production? I think to have 6 or 7 pump blocks in a season is sort of an anomaly. But the season before that, we was, dead spot. There was nothing out there. So it's not like we've had a consistent run like we've had at 10-win seasons that are going to equate to the same. So I do think we had a nice bright spot in our special teams history with last year, but we want to have a bright future and a continued success moving forward with Coach Biaggi.
Well, you know what? I was going to say this until the second half. We can hop into it. Before we do that, let's pay some bills. Apple Podcast, Spotify, along with CFB Nation in conjunction with Irish Breakdown. Don't forget our YouTube channel, Lucky Lefty Podcast. Subscribe, smash that like button for us. We greatly appreciate it. It's the Lucky Lefty Podcast, home of the misguided passion. You already know we spend it different. For all your business needs, you might as well rock out with the guys over at Rock Financial. That's Rock ROK.BIZ Rock Financial. See, this is my pushback. This is my pushback. If you fall in love and someone has an untimely death, that's still the love of your life. Doesn't matter if it was 3 months, 6 months, 9 months. Someone can still be the love of your life, and it's not based upon a short time span. He came in and changed the culture of special teams in a short time span in Notre Dame. Because special teams had gone was horrible.
We had a good
No,
season.
we
You
don't
don't change the
stop,
culture off of
stop,
one
stop.
season.
The fact that you're trying to make it seem like blocking 6 punts is an anomaly. Like there was no effort, no planning,
Do
no
you think
coaching. It
do you
just
think
happened.
do you think it was an anomaly to us specifically as a Notre Dame special team?
No, it was better coaching. It was better coaching. It
We
was
had
better coaching.
we had great special teams unit in 2015, 2016.
Okay, but who was coaching?
Booker.
Okay then.
Booker's
Okay
one.
then.
So
Okay then.
but the culture was established through years, not 1 year.
Wait a
We give
minute.
Brian Mason all the credit like he's changed life in 1 year. We had
He
a great
did.
we
He
had a
did change life in 1 year. What
changing
are you
life is
talking
more
about?
than a season. Changing life is more than a season. Coach Booker changed
No.
those teams. He
How
was there
long does it take? How long does it take? Well, we can put this on the board right now. Look, bro, if you want to sit here and talk like you're an 18, 19, 20-year-old, then that's fine. But if you're a grown adult, it doesn't take you a full year to recognize whether or not you want to spend the rest of your life with somebody. It doesn't take that.
Yes, it hold
No,
on.
it doesn't. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. You go ask
You're
any. You
saying
go ask
Brian
any. You
wait
go
a minute.
ask any.
You're saying
Any.
Brian
Ask
Mason.
any female over the age of 35 if they're cool being engaged for more than a year and see what they say. Ask them. Ask them. Are you cool with being engaged for longer than a year?
You're saying Brian Mason changed the culture of Notre Dame special teams in 1 year and then
Absolutely. All he had to do was come in and actually be a good coach. It
oh,
wasn't hard.
okay.
It wasn't hard.
So the standard of what you giving Brian Mason all this credit for wasn't high to begin with. Number one.
I agree.
Okay, so if it wasn't high to begin with before him, one season of doing good doesn't change what was going on before him moving forward. You would have to have more than 1 year to say, okay, his impact is a lasting effect for the culture of the special teams unit. We've been terrible at special teams for longer than a season. We've been terrible at special teams for about
Wait a minute.
years.
Why?
There's plenty of different reasons why. I think a
So
lot of
you
it
agree that special teams in 14, 15 under Coach Booker was pretty good.
was pretty good, yes.
Okay. When Coach Booker left, did special teams plummet?
Yeah, they did.
So the culture changed in 1 year. Am I correct? Just in 1 year with a different coach, the total culture of what was built up in special teams for Notre Dame totally changed, correct?
It wasn't that okay. So what happened when Coach Booker left? We were directed in special teams under a person that was doing things with personnel that wasn't giving us the success. That doesn't mean the culture changed because we were still about juice and all of that. But when you're putting Salami and Salerno back there, when you putting these guys that are trying to make the team as walk-ons and stuff on special teams, it became one of those Make-A-Wish Foundation units instead of a productive unit. So it's totally different. I think with Coach Biaggi coming in, you have a coach coming in that you're coming off of a successful season on special teams. Now, are you going to say that he has a huge mountain to climb for one season of success?
I didn't say he had a huge mountain to climb.
Well, that's what we're making.
Not what I said.
So
What
how
I
big
said
was
is he
did
has
Brian
big
Mason
shoes. Wait a minute. He has big shoes to fill. And I didn't even go to the fan base. You wait a minute.
That's
LL
what I'm
Nation.
saying.
LL question of the day. Does Marty Biaggi have big shoes to fill as the new special teams coach in Notre
That's
Dame?
why I'm asking, how big of a hill did Brian Mason build above the expectation of what we had before him? It
Are
was.
you?
It's like a little,
Is
it's
that
like
a serious? Is that a serious question?
he did a great job above what we were
When was
already doing.
when was the last time a Notre Dame punt returner averaged 10 yards per return?
A long time. I agree. It's been a long
And
time.
and it was Brandon Joseph. He's not even that fast.
It's the kid that graduated from Northwestern.
He's not even that fast. And you want to, he has, yes. Brian Mason did a lot. He did a lot. Let's not act like when Brian Mason left. Look, I
So is he the
guarantee
greatest
you,
special teams
I
coach
guarantee
we've
you a
had?
lot. Say it again.
Is he the greatest special teams coach we've had in the last
No,
decade?
you can't say that. You can't make that argument because
Right,
for an
because it's
argument
only
like
been
that,
1 year.
exactly. I agree with
Exactly.
you on that. But don't act like you tried to diminish like what he did and what happened on
No.
special teams in Notre Dame was an anomaly. Like any
It's
coach can come in and do that. No,
in
that's
the
not
10
true.
years, his year that he was there for one season in those 10 years was an anomaly, yes. 6 block punts, yes. We haven't had 6 block punts probably since the 80s.
Because of bad coaching.
Since the 80s?
How many?
It's an anomaly.
No. You might not have 6 next year, but you still should be able to get 3 or 4. You're always gonna have your peaks. That's fine.
Okay, so
That's
that makes
fine.
it
Michael Jordan basically averaged 30 points per game in the playoffs. But he had 40-point games, 50-point games. So yeah, you're gonna have peaks.
Do you believe that if Brian Mason came back, we would have 6, 7 block punts again? Or is that just a peak? Because if it's up to Coach Biaggi,
but you
if he
act
gets
like
3 or
peaks.
4, we're straight.
But you act like peaks can only happen once, and that's not the case. Peaks can happen multiple times. If you're going to extrapolate it out over 5 years, if Brian Mason was here for 5 years, could they have repeated what they did in year 1? Yes, they could have done it again. Hey, 10 yards per return with Brandon Joseph?
But that's
if you won't give that man credit just based on that, forget the punt.
Considering we were fair catching before then. We were fair catching punts before then. So
that's not his fault. That's not his fault.
Oh my goodness. Okay, well, in y'all case, he does.
I'm just showing proper respect to the previous coach.
No,
he deserves proper respect.
Is saying that you've had an anomaly year, that 1 year you was impacting the program, not a respectful compliment, because you did something that nobody's seen in the last 10 years. Now, because it's only 1 year, it's like that's worse than Deion. At least Deion gave you 3. Now, obviously, it's different circumstances, but
I was about to say, you talking Deion at Jackson State?
Yeah, I'm just saying it's different from the aspect of the impact on the program. I think the impact on the program, yeah, you could have a splash.
Mm.
You can do something really, really good in the season.
Mm.
But if you're talking about impacting the coach, it took Brian Kelly about 5 years to get on track before he went to the champion, or was it about 3 years to get on track?
3 years, third year, right?
Yeah, before he went to the championship. So that's a culture change in year 3, not in year 1.
But when did the culture change though? Just because you see the fruit of it doesn't mean that the root of it hasn't been there the whole time.
Well, it didn't happen in year 1.
You can change the culture. You can change the culture in year 1 and not reap the benefits of it until year 3.
But if you're not here for it, year 3, it's like, what are you just getting started?
So now you're talking about Mark Jackson and Steve Kerr. Mark Jackson wasn't there, but that's very much his championship, is it not?
No, it's not, because Steve,
from a developmental standpoint,
he put the team together, but you still got to push it to the finish line. right? If you set it up and then leave it, it's got to be operational for people to be like, oh, okay, it's a success.
That's fine. But what did Steph and Clay say? When Steph and Clay gave him
But they
credit,
better have Mark Jackson back. That's their boy. That's their guy.
okay then.
But that's a bias though.
Which goes to my point. It's not about the fans. The players in the locker room believed in Brian Mason. They believe they could block him. Okay.
Yeah.
So they have expectations in special teams.
And I think
that
that
have taken root.
Nice, smooth transition from Biaggi and Mason.
That could very well be. All I said was, don't poo-poo what the man did.
I can't. He was doing impressive stuff to the point where he got called up after 1 year.
So you had no problem. And I know this is going to be apples and oranges for you. But you had no problem saying that Joe Rudolph had big shoes to fill.
Oh, because Harry, he stands.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Harry, he stand literally can be like, look at what look. You can turn on Sunday and see what I'm doing. How is that not big shoes to fill? And Harry, he came back twice. He left. He said, I'm gonna go do my thing, come back. I did it again.
Mm-hmm.
Brian, we talking about 15 or 10 or so years compared to one season. I'll give Elko more credit for his impact. Because I thought, his 2-3 years of defense after Van Gorder was right what we needed, So I think that's somebody you can be like, change the culture.
I think I'm doing the wrong thing. I'm gonna have to sit down and talk to my wife, bro. Because based on what you said, dude, you feel like I could hop into coaching and make $5 million a couple of years and hop back out.
Yeah, absolutely. If you got Trevor Lawrence, man, what? If you got Trevor Lawrence, get into coaching right now.
So I just need to go to an institution that will allow me to use the bag, get the quarterback, and then just throw the footballs out.
Yeah, right. Write your ticket. Well, you gotta wait. Whoa. You gotta have also a little bit of infrastructure behind you, Gotta have a decent enough O-line, somewhat good enough receivers, and then you gotta be good in the media. You think you'd be good taking them interview questions, GC? You can't stay GC forever.
Hey, I'll step out of that GC a little bit for $5 to $6 million.
What would you, if you was Marcus Freeman? They just denied you your coach. Mm-hmm. You go to the media thing, and before you go up there, they like, "Hey, look, I'm gonna need you to cover for all of this." But we paying you about $6 million. We paying you, Shaun, $6 million. You gotta go up there and cover for us.
It's a way to do it, though, right?
It's a way
to do everything. It's like, do I bump and run? Do I play off man? Do I play cover 4? Do I play cover 3? There's just a lot of ways. Yeah, it's a lot of ways I can do it. I step up to the podium and I say, unfortunately, things don't go your way in life.
See, that's fair. Okay.
Things don't go your way in life. And we had some unfortunate things and some miscommunications that allowed us not to be able to go the direction that we possibly wanted to go. And we understand the Notre Dame fans were probably upset by that. And some of that included some misinformation that's going out through the media.
Yeah.
With all of that being said, we've arrived at where we need to be to move forward and win a national championship. And that's our mindset. We're all in this together. Administration, coaches, players, and we have our coaching staff and our next offensive coordinator, and we're going to get ready to go out and put up points next year and win games. There you go. I have to throw nobody under the bus. I said what I said, and I still got my check coming. That's all that matters.
Right. That's just as long as them shoes.
That's all that matters. Yes. Marcus Freeman, allow me to be your speech writer. Allow me to be your speech writer. I will hook you up, bro. I will hook it up. I'll get the
Yeah,
point across and keep it GC and keep the
yeah,
checks rolling.
keep the checks rolling, man. Just
Absolutely.
he got to
Absolutely.
work on his Euro step, man. He too straight to the basket. Marcus Freeman got to get his Euro step going.
He got that big man Euro
He
step.
got the big man. You want to bounce and dribble one time, hit elbow spin, and sometimes you got to Manu Ginobili. You know what I mean?
Lucky Lefty Podcast, Apple Podcast, Spotify, YouTube channel, Lucky Lefty Podcast. Subscribe, hit that like button for us. Make sure you hit the notification bell, CFB Nation in conjunction with Irish Breakdown, all of our great content. Leave 5 stars. We greatly appreciate it. We do apologize because we had 2 super chats at the end of yesterday's show, and we're going to get to those. My apologies. We said we were going to get to those. We ended up ending the show. My apologies to both of those super chats. And home of the misguided passion. You already know.
Misguided passion.
We spin it different. Can we talk about some coaches that are under the microscope? I'm gonna be flat out honest because we're going to get to the players that need to step up at each position group, especially for Notre Dame to take the next step as a team. I'm watching Chris O'Leary very carefully. And I do like what I saw from Xavier Watts throughout the season. I like what I saw. I think DJ Brown played his best year of football. Ramon Henderson, for me, I'm not sure about him on the back end, but I know he can cause havoc near the line of scrimmage. Blitzing, whether it's pass or during the run blitz, he's very good at that. I need him to become more aware of certain things. You know, his lack of awareness caused that big third down conversion in the Marshall game that allowed them to go down and score in that fourth quarter when they were basically just trying to get off the field and punt. So his maturation is something we need to see. The defensive performance in the Gator Bowl wasn't bad from a point standpoint, right? It was without some of your best players along the defensive front. So you're a little encouraged. But I'm watching the safety play this year. I won't even get into the recruiting standpoint because it's tough. Mike Mickens makes it tough because of the job he's doing with the cornerbacks he's bringing in and how they're coming out and playing early. That's something that, you know, Chris O'Leary is connected to at the safety position. You know, can we lay Peyton Bowen at his feet? Yeah. You know my feeling, my personal feelings about Peyton Bowen. But I need to see more. Like I need Xavier Watts to become a dude. And I'm kind of teasing, you know, who I'm going to mention at the safety position, but I need him to become a dude.
Yeah.
I need him to become a dude. And that's something that's going to bear watching. Like how many does a Don Schuler make an impact early? Does Ben Minich make an impact early? Does one of these freshman safeties, do they make an impact? After losing Peyton Bowen, that would soften the blow to most Irish fans, in my opinion. So I'm going to watch Chris O'Leary this season after taking interviews for the NFL and deciding to come back to Notre Dame. He's under my watchful eye. He's under my watchful eye, left.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to start because I think the expectation of that secondary is to be a highlight of defense next year. And so, with that being said, it was a lot of transition with guys in and out of the lineup, young guys back there, and so having some foundational pieces that you can rely on, just like how we do at corner, we can feel good about who we have at corner going into the year. I would like to feel the same at that safety position. So it is a challenge considering the expectation that's put on that unit and
Mm-hmm.
how they did so well last year. So There'll definitely be, if all things considered go right, the most impactful group because I think that is the most talented group or unit on the defense this year. So I would
I
expect
mean, in totality on the back
in
end.
totality, like the
Yeah,
whole
yeah.
back end is I think our greatest athletic strength defensively. And so to see that flourish, I think is a huge weight on Coach O'Leary's shoulders to make sure that can highlight a defense that the front seven I don't think will be as or D line specifically as good as last year.
My second coach that's under my watchful eye, and this might catch a lot. This might catch some people off guard, right? Because you know how you have things and you don't know where the directive is coming from. Chancey Stuckey is under my watchful eye, left.
Mm.
Great 2023 wide receiver class. Fantastic. He's doing a phenomenal job with the 24 group from the young men that we talk to and the relationships he's building. But some things Tobias not getting on the field. Um, the prolonged slump of one of the best players on the roster at the position. Other players not showing up until later in the season. You know, the unified message of you got to know the whole playbook. You got to be able to do everything. You know, a lot of people call hogwash on that, man. Hogwash. Like you can't wait around for a talent like Tobias Merriweather trying to make sure he knows the entire playbook when he's decimating. Brandon Joseph talked about it at the combine. This dude is decimating your secondary in practice. But you want to put him or hold him to the standard of having to know the entire playbook to get on the field. Like, what are we doing? Now, was that Tommy Reese? You know, is Chancey Stuckey the one that gets players on the field and switches everyone up?
I definitely don't think it was Coach Stuckey's decision to not put Tobias Merriweather in there. I think that's why he didn't
Well,
particularly
but
speak.
he was unified with the message though.
I
So
mean,
now we get to see. Now we get to see. We get to see, right? Because Tobias is a sophomore, but you got three freshmen, three talented freshmen that it shouldn't take 5-6 weeks to get them acclimated to playing college football, especially when they're early enrollees.
I think you're definitely going to see Coach Stuckey have the opportunity to show his receiver room, take that next step. I don't believe that the Tobias situation was in his control. I do think that he probably suggested that he does play, but I don't think he has anything past a suggestion when it came to how the offense was ran last year. Plus, even if he was in there, I don't think we would have gotten him the ball enough from the talent of our QB and the trust that he had pushing the ball, even though he liked him a lot.
Mm,
I just don't believe that if he was in there a lot, we would have been able to get it to him as much as we are expecting to this year. And then I think the expectations for the receiver room has shifted, especially getting a quarterback like Sam Hartman to,
absolutely.
oh, this is leading the offense. We ain't just playing our part. We need to be the dominant 60-40 pass run offense
Hmm.
that we need to be if we want to, take that next step because I think that, you got to pass your way to a championship these days. And Sam Hartman giving us the look or the perception that we should be better in that pass game alone, outside of Tyler developing himself too and all that. But now it's like, okay, you're not bringing Sam in to run the ball. I don't think the college football world is looking at Notre Dame in that aspect. If that was the case, y'all wouldn't have got Sam Hartman. You would have got one of these other quarterbacks. So to take a plunge on that. You're openly saying we're throwing the football next year, and these receivers uh, got to be on point. And I think a year of development when you can
Mhm.
be in the background of the offense and work on these guys. I think you'll see guys like Tobias and Lorenzo and even Jaden Thomas pop after a year being with Chancey Stuckey. So it's a hot seat because you are going to be the one called to the front of the stage. Do I think he's can? Do I think he can do it? I think the guys in the room believe in him, and in a short amount of time, taking enough to feel like they can be hungry, like Deion Coley said, to where it's like, okay, I'm ready, just throw it to me. I don't think we had the confidence as a room years before to where it was like, if we need to win, throw it to EQ or throw it to Miles or throw it after Miles actually that year where it was like we don't have a even with Javon, I thought Javon was a great role player. But is he a number one receiver where it's like when in doubt, we got Javon McKinley, like how Marvin Harrison Jr. was Ohio State? Not exactly, because we're running the football. Sam
Mhm.
Hartman, you're gonna know right away who's the number one receiver going into game one. It should be that way. Because if we're gonna do it right, Chancey Stuckey should have a big dog in the room and we go from there.
Now, allow me to be fair. The reason I said what I said is because we don't know. We don't know. We could sit here and say it was Tommy. We could sit here and say it was Coach Stuckey.
I'm gonna say it was Tommy.
Yeah, you can say that. And I'm still saying, unless you show me proof,
Okay, in your opinion, if it wasn't Tommy, do you think Coach Stuckey really didn't want to put him in there? Just as a
no, no,
understand
no.
who he is?
Look, I've been in rooms from a different perspective. It's up to the play caller determines the personnel on the field from the play call.
The play
Now,
caller, right?
yes.
Oh
Now,
yes.
from that standpoint, there might be some leeway given to the coach to implement which two receivers or which three receivers run on the field. To say, yo, be ready.
Now
So that
with the play
and
caller,
I do think there's responsibility that falls on because I have to bring Marcus Freeman into this. There's responsibility that falls on the positional coach to push for his guys to say, hey, he's doing his thing in practice. We need to find a way to get him on the field. And that rests on the head coach as well. He's sitting there watching practice, seeing what Brandon Joseph is seeing what the other defensive backs are seeing. When Tobias Merriweather is toasting him in practice, he's seeing that. It's up to him to say, yo, we're struggling a little bit. Can we get him 2 to 3 targets deep a game? Can we do that? Because we try to get some big explosive plays. I mean, this is a collaborative effort. When you talking about getting the best players on the field, especially young players,
do you
how
think
how
we
long
were
do you think how long do you think it took Dabo Sweeney? If Dabo Sweeney said this, he said, "Look, I saw Travis Etienne run a sweep the second practice and was like, you know what? Get him on the field." Doesn't take long. So we got to stop playing these games like this is complicated and
okay,
no,
let's
it's
when
like,
have we offensively
mm-hmm,
outside of Kevin Stepherson until he, was getting in trouble?
mm-hmm.
When have we ever trusted an offensive player that was that young just be out there for a bunch of snaps? Just in general. With Dale Alexander, with Autry, with any of the assistant coaches. I think we've had plenty of talent on the roster that were on load management. I believe Tobias was on load management unnecessarily. That at the end of the day, I'm sure Chancey had a lot of suggestions. But when has the offense ever been a collaborative effort up until this year? I think that's why Gerard Parker started the meeting or started the press with collaborative effort. because that word hasn't been used in about a decade.
That's fair.
So
That's fair.
I think Chancey, speaking to your point, is under the pressure now because Coach Parker gonna be like, "Hey, knocking on the door, what you think?"
Thank you.
Well, what can we
Thank you.
maybe try them young dudes? You've been in there with them every day.
And you have a quarterback and you have a lot of wide receivers now. So deciding who gets on the
A
field.
lot of wide receivers. Exactly. We have a lot of wide receivers now.
Thank you.
To where it's like, yeah, we got some tight ends, but it's overbearingly the potential in the receiver room. Because you got guys like Styles and Cosley and JT.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got the young bucks that have been making a lot of noise. Then you got the transfer edition thrown in there. All these questions. How are we going to take the next step offensively? We know we can run.
Yeah.
So Chancey's probably, just like Deion Cosley, hungry for the opportunity to really help this offense take the next step. And it's only can come from that receiver room. Yeah, we buffer up the QB room a little bit. Got a QB coach in there, got a transfer in there that's veteran. So we beefed it up enough to be like, okay, we can't blame the QB no more. Because now we got two of them.
Facts.
So, and the run game I think the run has to be effective for the pass, not just volume. I think a volume running team, we're not Kansas State. That's a volume running team. And what happened when they played a team like Alabama? Alabama said, look, I know y'all think y'all physical. And I know y'all built off of being tough and all that. But listen, we're physical too, but we got talent, and so
it's like the new slap league, new slapping league, right? Kansas State had been slapping teams all around in the Big 12 all year, right? And they had to stand there and get slapped by Alabama.
They slapped a little heavier. So we're going to out tough. I don't think Notre Dame, if we're going to win a championship, is going to be because we have out tough our opponent.
Mm-hmm.
No. It's going to be a little bit of that. We're going to have to run it, but let it be effective runs. Let Aldrich get some of those effective 10, 8-yard rip-off runs because we got them so worried about covering guys downfield.
Mm-hmm.
That's how we should. That's the formula to success to win a championship now. When Georgia ran the football, you barely noticed it, but it was effective.
Mm-hmm.
And Stetson Bennett went out there and had 6 touchdowns. That's the storyline. They ran the ball great, though. If you look at the stat sheet, they say, "Oh, they ran the ball, boom, ooh." But the storyline and what won the game was being able to throw the football. And Sam Hartman has enough ability to take us as far as Tyler can. But them 3 games is where I'm expecting Sam Hartman to be the reason why we're glad that you transferred.
Mm-hmm. That was wonderful, Left. He's still under my watchful eye.
Yeah, I believe it.
He's still under my watchful eye. Because you never know. And this is a year that I think we find out a lot. Because there was a lot of blame thrown in the direction of Tommy Rees for everything.
Okay, yeah.
For everything.
I can agree with that.
Right?
More than needed.
For everything. It's up to the positional coach. Is it not the positional coach's job to make sure that everything is technical, that his guys have the playbook?
That's Tommy's fault a little bit for not having that little buffer.
Yes.
Gerard Parker could go in there on was it Sundays or Mondays and be like, look, I was telling him to get the QB's feet right. He got to, ask Gino.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't throw it. I just called the plays. Tommy had to take on too much. He like, oh damn,
That's why Tommy's screaming at Drew I'm like,
You see
dude,
that?
you're the coach.
You're the coach.
You're the quarterback coach. While you're snapping on this dude, you're the quarterback coach.
Exactly. So
So
we're not hearing that from you. But
hey,
I do like though um how it's structured. Obviously, we need somebody to point the blame to if it don't go right. But the structure for it to work well, I think this is a group project that we can all get an A on.
mhm.
We just if you do the research and I'll type the paper, Chancey print the stuff off on time, and then we got Gerard Parker editing with Coach G. We can have a little presentation that might get us some brownie points. So I think for us, it's going to be important also when you're looking at who's on the hot seat. I even think Dina McCollum's on the hot seat because if
I mean,
we're
okay, I'm
well,
interested in hearing this.
I wouldn't say hot seat, but I would say under the
He's
microscope
under the microscope for you. Okay.
because I would love to see how we do in pass blocking and how we do in our rotations. And I say that because when you have a lot of talent, you also have to know how to manage it. Not saying that he doesn't know how to manage it, but we have a very intricate situation when we're trying to transition to a different phase of offense, in my opinion. Now, they may still try to be heavy run and pass, but I'm saying if we're hypothetically speaking on what can win us a championship, we would have to make a transition from being a volume run team to a team that's more, you can even say RPO and pass, because I know Sam Hartman does a little bit of that. But with that, maybe Jadarian fits a little bit more situationally from an effective, explosive run play, where he may get to 15 where Aldridge can get to 8 on a second down where we're moving fast or trying to, situationally get down the field our run game. So I think for him, being able to manage those guys where it's like maybe less carries are coming.
Mm.
Who am I going to roll too deep in some situations? Who am I going to put in on third down in some situations? What if Aldridge doesn't gets less than 10 carries because of who we playing? And we featuring Sam this week. And Sam got about 35 passes because he has to. I think we have the team built to win for whatever the situation causes. We're not a team that's going to roll in there and be like, we're going to run hella hot water. Because I think we have too much talent. And if you're doing it from a collaborative aspect, you're going to coach each game to win, not to be like, well, we only got one receiver and he needs 1,000 receptions,
I can see that. I can
And
see
have you
that.
ever seen us be really good in pass protection? Maybe Kyron, but that was an individual effort. But from just a group, when we've been great in pass protection at Notre Dame from the running back
As
standpoint.
far as the running backs, Kyra might have been the best of the bunch.
And that's best in the last
Tony Jones.
Tony Jones okay. So I think the style of offense, in order to win a championship, needs to change, but it doesn't need to change drastically. I just think when you're talking about those 3 games we need to win, we got to get over, in my opinion, 300 yards passing if we beat Ohio State. Got to get over 300 if we beat the SC.
Yeah.
I can say I think we'll run the ball again against Clemson. I don't think they'll be able to do nothing with that next year. But the other 2 games, we got to get over 300. But Sam can do that.
Yeah.
Sam's
I can see that. I can see that. I can see that. I just think the total offense, the Tommy Reese excuse is no longer there.
It's not.
It's just no longer there, man. And coaching in football is pretty much the same. Like, you can sit up here and talk. Like, it's the job of the positional coach to develop the technique and the understanding of the playbook. Period. You can blame Tommy Reese all you want to. If people are struggling with the playbook, they need to go to who? The positional coach.
Position coach.
And if they continue to struggle with the playbook, then you question the positional coach. Like it's a bunch of stuff you can put on Tommy Rees, and it's a bunch of stuff you can't. Young man could not get on the field. His contact for the playbook was not Tommy Rees.
But wait a minute.
I guarantee you he did not have one conversation with Tommy Rees about what he was supposed to do on a particular play in the playbook. Not one.
See, this is what doesn't make sense. Tommy would say in the press conference, we love what he looks like. He works hard after practice. He knows what he's doing. He's making plays, killing our defense, killing the drills. But I just don't trust him. He's working hard before and after practice.
And I have to think about that as a kid.
Damn.
Like if I'm Tobias,
what do you do?
Because I'm not going, wait a minute, I'm not going. I can tell you, I know for a fact, players are instructed under Marcus Freeman to go talk to their positional coaches.
That's right. Go talk to your mom. That's what
I know that for a fact.
Go talk to your mom.
So if there was a problem, the conversations took place with Chancey Stuckey. If there was a problem.
But the
if I was Tobias Merriweather, and see, this is not just about the wide receiver room. See, if I'm another player on the squad, I'm asking after watching this dude in practice every week.
That's a championship team, though.
I'm asking, whoa.
If Prince Collie knocked on the door, hey, this Tobias be working me at practice. Why are we not seeing him?
Why are we not seeing this dude on Saturday?
That's a championship team, though. That's what we would do in 2015. Oh, what? That's what I did with Fink. I said, hey, yo. I mean, look, I love what we got at slot, but Fink, you might have to take a look.
Mm-hmm.
Next thing you know, Fink captain, the 5th year, senior, all type of crazy accolade. But that's how you know a team is like, okay, we serious about winning. Not we serious about waking up and being on schedule, but we serious about winning where we thinking like, how can the team be the best amongst us without having to lean on everything the coaches say? Because the team know who really like that or who's not. And there's usually a power struggle between what the team wants and what the coaches want to do.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think people listening, watching it might be taking, dude, someone being under the microscope does not mean it's a negative. No. It means the excuse has been removed.
Yeah. The veil has been taken
down. The veil has been taken down. So yeah, now eyes are on you for what's going on at your particular position.
Yeah, we just making sure when things go down, we know who to call.
I get where you're coming from with Dylan McCullough. It has nothing to do. We saw the development of the running backs. Yeah. We saw his ability to recruit. My brother, you got a lot of carries to divvy up, dude. It's a lot.
We're going to be expecting you to have it on point.
It's a lot, man. It's a lot of pressure to get Jeremiah Love on the field because he might step on the field his first practice and be the best running back you have. Now, how do you deal with that? How do you deal with that? You have these two dudes that can be 1,000-yard rushers, and you have this freshman that steps on the field. He might be the most explosive out of everybody.
And then you got a guy coming off injury that might just be that dude too. And Jadarian
Price. Now what do you do?
Built like Reggie Bush.
So as much as we say, Jared Parker, man, you got a lot to work with, my man. It's a lot of pressure because you do have a lot to work with.
Jared Parker, yeah, how you splitting up them carries? Is because the receivers got to get a good portion of targets, and then you got to have some attempts in there.
Like, I know you can run the ball 40 times against Tennessee State for 400 yards, but there's no excuse for your wide receivers not to get loose against Tennessee State. None. None. That is, yeah, Jared Parker's under the microscope. You're darn right.
Tennessee State, it should be about objectives because we can score 1,000. But if we don't have certain objectives, like, okay, this person got this many carries and targets, this person got this many yards and carries and targets, then that would tell me off the bat, oh, we not organized. If we don't go in the TSU game looking like, oh, we really are getting our players the football instead of it just being we just trying to score points, then I'll know right then and there if we ready for them 3 games. Because the team doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Because if this is about scoring points, then we're gonna start seeing all type of crazy stuff like we usually do.
Facts.
But if we're serious about this season and what we're doing offensively, then that TSU game is not gonna look any different than the Ohio State game, than the Clemson game, the SC game, because you're gonna see a plan.
Mm.
I don't want to see the TSU game where we getting people out of the stands to run plays and we got people calling in, calling plays from the they comfort of their home, or we get these walk-ons with an amputated arm catching punts at the end so everybody can cheer. No. We want 4 quarters of, man, they got something that I don't think teams can stop. And then when you look up, being like, oh, and they blew them out 70-0, but we couldn't even pay attention to the scoreboard. We just seeing guys fly around.
Mm-hmm.
That's what needs to be the expectation.
Lucky Lefty Podcast, Apple Podcast, Spotify. CB Nation in conjunction with Irish Breakdown, all of our great content. Leave 5 stars, leave your comments. We greatly appreciate it. It's the Lucky Lefty Podcast. We spin it different. There you have it. Our 3 coaches under the microscope. When we come back, we talk about the players at each position for both of us that need to step up and be that dude. It's going to be very interesting. It's the Lucky Lefty Podcast. You already know we spin it different. Left, we had a great conversation about coaches under the microscope. And we don't do low hanging fruit here on the Lucky Lefty Podcast. We don't. So, I'm sure everybody thought we were just going to go pick Al Washington off the branch and just talk about him. Nah. Bigger fish leads to better conversation. And now we're about to have a great conversation about whether or not the cream will rise to the top at each position for Notre Dame on both sides of the ball. We're going to start out the quarterback position. And I think we both have Sam Hartman as the starter. But I want to go a step further. We talked about the win total fan duel. Notre Dame fans should take it personal because they basically said that the addition of Sam Hartman didn't mean a darn thing as far as how they, as far as their view on Notre Dame football. 8.5 last year, 8.5 this year.
Not even a game or even a half a game better with the transfer.
No, not
Hey,
at all.
Don't get hyped.
Not at all.
Different.
Not at all. So I'll say this. Since we both agree that he's a starting quarterback left, he needs to be a difference maker. But what type of difference maker does he need to be? See, that's the question. That's the question, right? And the reason I say that is because the vision, play this for you, just in case you forgot left. The vision, right? Like, what do you want at Notre Dame when it comes to like the players and the talent? Marcus Freeman, like, what do you want?
Yeah, I look at the DB position, right? The safety position. That's a deep group, right? You talk about Houston and DJ and Brandon Joseph and Ramon and Xavier. That group will have a 1A and 1B for sure. And it's something going into the spring you probably didn't know. The D line is extremely deep, and that's with Jason not practicing, but with Foskey and Justin and Howard Cross has had an unbelievable spring. I mean, an unbelievable spring. And he's done a great job, and Lacey, and I could go on, but I think the depth of our middle, right up the middle, we're really, really deep, especially defensively, from the D line to the linebackers to the safeties. Right up the middle, we're deep. We have to continue to develop some young guys. With Cam's out at corner, so we got to develop some young guys at corner. The O line, I wouldn't say we're 1As and 1Bs yet, but I'm really, really pleased with some of those 1As. And so, again, the running back position would never be. I think up the middle, we're really, really strong, and we have to continue to develop on the edges.
That's very interesting, right? Because this is just a year ago. He's talking about the depth up the middle on the defensive side of the ball, right? Who did they lose? They lost Lacey. They lost Foskey, who said Jordan Patello is next. You're like, yeah, hey, my successor is there, right? You lose Jason Adamiola, who didn't exactly have the greatest season, and you lose Justin Adamiola. That's 4 guys. But you were told that they had depth up the middle. Did that depth leave all of a sudden? Because they only lost 2 people up the middle.
Mhm.
One was going to graduate regardless. The other one transferred. But I'm supposed to believe the defensive line is a concern, even though the head coach just a year ago told me that their greatest depth is up the middle.
I don't know.
So you talk about he wants 1A and 1B from a talent standpoint at every position. That's his vision. I don't think Sam Hartman, I don't think Sam Hartman is a top 5 quarterback in college football. That's my personal opinion.
Yes.
That's my personal opinion. Does he 6, 7? Yes.
He's probably more like 10, 11, maybe.
Nah, I wouldn't go that far. I wouldn't go that far.
Caleb Drake.
I think 6,
Caleb
6, 7.
Drake. Caleb Drake.
Yeah.
I'll take Spencer Rattler over him.
Yeah, you are a Spencer Rattler fan.
I'll take Jaden Daniels out of LSU.
I would take the kid. I would take the kid from Florida State.
Florida State,
Over him.
Clay Travis or Jordan Travis. That's 5. I'll take Joe Milton out of Tennessee.
I can't go with you there.
You want to go Joe Milton? Okay.
I can't go Joe Milton with you.
I'll take
Michael Penix Jr. is definitely.
Oh, Michael Penix Jr.
And it's funny how people try to poo-poo Michael Penix Jr. like he didn't do it at Indiana, and then after he got healthy, he did it at Washington. But
technically, I'll take Bo Nix up there at Oregon.
That's debatable.
Okay,
that's debatable. Bo Nix is debatable. He had a really good season at Oregon. That's debatable.
I'll take J.J. McCarthy. I think I like J.J. McCarthy
over Sam Hartman.
For where he's at, I mean,
he has a higher ceiling.
Yes, he has a
higher ceiling. I'll give you that. He has a higher ceiling than Sam Hartman. I'll give you that.
I mean, that's 10 right there. And I'm sure there's other ones that can't stand it. But the 23 class for quarterbacks is actually pretty good. So it's not like
it is.
Sam's a bum or nothing. Sam's not a bum, but the class is deep. But if you're going to win a championship, you need a quarterback that's floating around that top 5. That's just what it is.
Yeah.
That's just what it is.
Yeah.
Stetson Bennett is a top 5 quarterback last year in college football. And, along with having one of the best teams ever, of course, they won a championship. Max Duggan was in college football as a top 5 quarterback. That's why they was in the playoffs. So if Sam Hartman is not better than Michael Penix Jr., because I think Washington will win a bunch of games this year.
And that's leading to my question: like, how much pressure is really on Sam Hartman? Sam Hartman can't come in. Look, Sam Hartman cannot come in and be Wake Forest Sam Hartman.
No. Because that's what they say in 8 games.
This is a whole nother level of football, dude.
He's got to play better than what he was before.
He has
But
to
the
elevate his
positive
level of
is-
play.
The positive is he has better resources now.
Facts.
So you have the ability to elevate your game
Facts.
with the stuff around you. But at the same time, it's not like you have to elevate them as well.
Hmm.
We already elevating you. You're already gonna look better being with us.
Yeah.
But when it comes time to when we all like we need somebody to lean on, you got to be the one to lean on. Now, you've made enough numbers to put yourself in a position where people can believe you can.
Yeah.
But I don't know nothing I believe. I know what I know.
Yeah. Yeah. Lucky Lefty podcast. You know, and it's funny. You know, I don't mind being different. I don't grab low hanging fruit, and I'm not a follower. I'm not. Just because you did something at Wake Forest doesn't mean you're gonna come over to Notre Dame and do it. It's a totally different beast. It's a totally different moments at Notre Dame when USC and Ohio State walk into the building. Totally different. Totally different.
And it's crazy because they saying 10, like we're crazy was thinking Sam's not top 5, top 10. He wasn't top 10 last year. He
Well,
really
I said he was 6 or 7 for me. Some people act like that's being disrespectful.
I'm saying from last year.
No, he wasn't a top 5 quarterback last year.
I'm talking about top 10 last year. He wasn't. He's
top
only
10
top 10
is debatable.
10. Top 10 last year.
And see, this is Michael Campbell said Sam Hartman has a team and he's not asked to be Michael Jordan without Scottie Pippen and company.
Michael Jordan without Scottie.
This is why I call BS on that. In big games, he has to be Michael Jordan. Stop it.
Yes.
He can't go play like Scottie Pippen with Caleb Williams on the other side of the field. Stop. That's not happening. I don't know how we think this is about to go. Like Caleb Williams, like we're so good defensively, and our running game is so great that Sam Hartman can just be Scottie Pippen and a role player against USC, and we're gonna be able to win the game. Okay, all right. Let him come in and play a Scottie Pippen game against Caleb Williams and see what happens. Let him play a Scottie Pippen game against Ohio State and see what happens. You didn't
Vegas doesn't think that he adds any benefit.
Marcus Freeman didn't tell Drew Pine you might need to find another school to bring in Sam Hartman for him to be a role player. No, we need a dude.
He definitely didn't tell them. He didn't tell Drew that he should reconsider.
He could have let Tyler Buckner be Scottie Pippen. Could he not?
He does got to come in and be Michael Jordan now.
Marcus Freeman is expecting Sam Hartman to be a dude. He's not expecting this dude to be a role player. No, he's expecting him to be a dude.
Was Jack Cohn a dude? Or was Jack Cohn a great transitional piece for the team?
I mean, I would venture to say that I would consider Sam Hartman a better quarterback than Jack Cohn.
I think so. I think Sam can have a bigger impact than Jack did, but
I don't know if Jack Cohn had the capability to be on Michael Jordan in big games.
Does Sam have the capability, though?
You get the opportunity. I mean, this is why he came to Notre Dame.
That's why he came to Notre Dame.
That's why he came to Notre Dame. We'll see. We will see. We will definitely see.
But I don't want the inflation to come when we start beating these teams that we're supposed to beat. If we crushing these teams we're supposed to beat. Okay, I'm judging it off of the 3 games because I believe we can win all them other games with Tyler. I mean, for real. Like, I think we can win confidently all the other games except the 3 that can be tossed up with Tyler Buckner. Hell, I think we'll have a good chance with Tyler Buckner in those 3 games. So Sam got to come blow it out the water for me. Because if not, Tyler Buckner's not bad. I think with a full season of playing, he'd be a threat. And at the position, we haven't had a threat at the position for a long time. I think Jack was a really good player, but was Jack a threat going into week to week? Was teams being like, man, Jack gonna cook us if we don't? It's like Jack had good games because of how the game went. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the game gave him 300, he took 300.
Yeah.
The game gave him 160, he'll take 160. But he ain't out there 300 repeating the process and then nothing you can do. That's the type of quarterback that we're looking for. CJ Stroud went in there against when he played against us, and at a certain point in the game, he was like, you know what? I'm first round. Let me just do. If Sam can do that for us, that's all we asking.
We gave him what, the bare minimum of 250?
The bare minimum. You can get that third quarter.
Just do 250. 250. That's 250, 2 touchdowns. That's all we need from you. But don't fool yourself. Marcus Freeman did not bring Sam Hartman in here to be B.J. Armstrong, as some people in the chat are foolishly saying. Ian Book was B.J. Armstrong. And I think that's disrespectful to even say Ian Book and B.J. Armstrong. I need to rethink that. It's like, what are we talking about, man? Like, are we that sensitive as a fan base that objectively someone saying, yo, there might be 5 quarterbacks in college football next year that might be better than Sam Hartman? Oh my God, like Sam Hartman is Caleb Williams or Drake May. Like, this dude is a pusher. He's not. He's not. And that's okay.
That's okay.
It's okay to have a dude that's not that dude. It's okay. But don't overvalue him.
Just because he's at Notre Dame. His value has
at Notre Dame. Thank you.
His value has gotten better, but that's because of us. Not because he did anything. He got better naturally because we gave him attention. Now he's got to go prove it while we're smart decision makers at Notre Dame. He got to go out there and show it. But realistically, like, this is not like we got Caleb Williams. Because it's a different conversation. It's like, how many points can we score? 50, 60, 70? This is, all right, it's your turn to shine. We don't really.
Right. This is the amazing thing. And then we'll speed through the players. The same people that are sitting here pushing back or complaining are the same people that swear Notre Dame is about to explode offensively. Oh, we're going to score close to 40 points a game. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. You're not doing that with the running game. Which means Sam Hartman has to be a dude. He can't be a role player.
Yeah, you got to be a dude, man. You're not scoring 40 being a run team.
No.
Unless we had the defense that Georgia had.
The reason Ohio State was able to put up 40 points against Georgia is because CJ Stroud showed up and was a dude.
It was a dude.
He was a dude that night.
Can Sam Hartman put up a potential CJ Stroud performance against a team like that in the championship game? Even Stetson Bennett put up a crazy performance. But that was against TCU. I wouldn't count that. Maybe against a tougher defense.
That's dude, man. Look, I don't know what people are really delusional. If they think Notre Dame's just about to line up against the top 3 teams on their schedule and just roll them. I understand fandom, but you need to relax. For real. You're bugging. You're bugging. Especially if you're thinking that's the way it's going to go just because you got one player in the transfer portal. And that one player is not an all-time transcendent player at that position. Nah.
That's what I'm saying. It's such a interesting thing to think about. He's not the God's gift to earth from a supreme talent athletic standpoint. It's just like if we just feel like we got better with the guy, and we feel a little bit better that we have a better shot than last year. But having a better shot than last year wouldn't make us necessarily closer this year. It would just make us better than last year.
So this is the problem, and this is where the delusion comes in. Robert McReynolds, thanks for tapping in. Yes, Shaun, Hartman just walking in the locker room lifted the quarterback position at least 2 slots from where? It was at a negative.
No, I wouldn't say it's that negative.
Bro, you need to stop.
Tyler Buckner has talent.
Wait a minute. We're going the quarterback play in the regular season for Notre Dame last year was below normal for college football.
Way below normal. For Notre Dame, way below normal.
So to take it up 2 notches from where it was, what is that? That's not championship level.
At average.
That's not championship level. What are we talking about? It's not championship level. It's not. And if we want, as fans, want to be delusional enough, okay, he walks in the door and he changes everything. Everything's just about to go to 40 points. Okay. Watch college football. Doesn't work like that. Doesn't work like that.
Yeah, you don't jump.
Doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like
Vegas
that.
Don't even think it works like that.
No.
Vegas like shoot.
Doesn't work like that.
Vegas said the same thing. Y'all was in the negative in QB production. Y'all didn't jump to outstanding. Y'all just jumped about surviving, halfway average. Like y'all. He stands jump from our offensive line average to really good. That's the jump. But we knew that before the season started.
Thank you.
We was so shocked that we was average that we didn't know we was like, what is this? An average O-line.
Thank you.
He came and made it back to explementary, where it was like, okay, I feel good at this. We was below average at quarterback position production last year.
And excuse me. People act like Sam Hartman, like we just got the best quarterback to ever play at Notre Dame. Sam Hartman's not a better quarterback than Brady Quinn was. What are we talking about?
Or Ev.
Facts. So what are we talking about? Y'all act like y'all never seen good quarterback play in Notre Dame. I know it's been a long time.
Didn't Brandon whoop up on Sam?
I know it's been a long time. It's been a long time. But we have to stop acting like we don't know what peak quarterback play is in college football. Sam Hartman is not Brady Quinn. He's not. As a passer and an athlete, he's not Everett Golson. He's not. And Ev never even reached his potential.
Because
of his own doing. It was his own doing. His own fault. He never reached his potential. But what are we talking about, man? What are we talking about? We're talking about stop. Just stop. Like, I understand, Left, when you say J.J. McCarthy, bro. J.J. McCarthy is a 5-star quarterback that is going to be a possible first-round pick in the NFL draft in 2 years. 2 years.
And leave with 30-plus wins under his belt. From a pro. He didn't start at no Mississippi State Valley. He started at Michigan. So it's not like he was at Rutgers and then got discovered late. No, he was always at a certain level. Sam Hartman has been elevating through the years. This is like a developmental player. No, he's not a developmental player. But it's a player that's going from no expectations to all the expectations. And that's a huge change. You're going from a team that nobody playoffs. Y'all, what? Hell, ACC championship. What? Like what? To you got to win this whole thing. You got to beat Bama and all the big monsters that's a huge jump for a quarterback, expectation wise. Now every throw is a little bit tighter now.
There are no cookies.
Them
We
third
don't do cookies at
them
Notre
third
Dame.
downs and them big games is a little bit more, because you used to. I could throw 50 times against North Carolina because we Wake Forest. Who cares? Who cares? I go out there and throw 15 picks. Who cares? It's Wake Forest. You go out there and throw 15 picks, man, what?
So
you already saw how quick we turned against in the Marshall game against TV.
I'll give you a perfect example, Left. I'll give you a perfect example to show you things are different. September 24th, 2022. Sam Hartman, 20 of 29. Listen to these stats. 20 of 29. 337 yards, 6 touchdowns. I'll take that. He lost the game. Ain't no cookies. See, at Wake Forest, the media, the fans, everybody say, that's a great game, Sam. That's a great. We were in the game because of you. Man, we Notre Dame. We don't want to hear that. That dude. I'm not trying to hear that against Clemson because that was against Clemson last year. I'm not trying to hear that. I'm not trying to hear that.
We definitely not trying to come close and then lose. No,
I'm not trying to hear that.
No moral victories around here.
Because, I watched that game, and there was a series where he had an opportunity to go up double digits and allow Clemson to come back into the game. You can't miss those opportunities in big games in Notre Dame. I don't care how great your stat line is. It's all about moments. Can you be the best player on the field in the most important moments? That's championship football. That's championship football. We didn't bring you here to hand the ball off in the biggest moments. Marcus Freeman purposely told Drew Pine, hey, man, you might want to think about going because I have to go get a dude. Marcus Freeman didn't tell Tommy Reese to go find a role player.
But that's what also concerns me about it is because
wait a minute. Let me just say this. If you knew the list of quarterbacks that Tommy Reese actually talked to before they ended up settling or ended up getting Sam Hartman, then you will understand that Marcus Freeman was not looking for a role player at quarterback. So as a fan, you can settle on the fact, he can come in and be Scottie Pippen. No, he can't. No, he can't. Not at Notre Dame. No, he can't. Not if the goal is to win a national championship. No, he can't.
But it does concern me as well, though, that if, Sam Hartman is that dude, then Tommy wouldn't have left. Because who's going to leave a first-round quarterback? For whatever, you're going to hold on to that. What's the name dude? He stayed an extra year because of who he had. Trying to think of the offensive coordinator. It was one of the offensive coordinators that was like, no, I'm staying. It was Washington. When the Washington offensive coordinator was like, no, I got Michael Penix Jr., bro. I'm staying.
Facts.
Because he know that he's going first round.
Facts.
So why do you recruit a dude that you're supposed to get a dude for, and then you leave him?
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't have believed he was a dude, at least for the job at hand. Washington's offensive coordinator was one of the hottest in the country. We asked him to come down for an interview. The man said, wait a minute, I'll think about it, but after this year, I got a whole first round QB that's going to get me to the top. That's what I'm like, well, if that's the case, you just leaving out, you couldn't believe that he was your answer. Because why would you leave the answer? If this was going to be a championship transition pick, Tommy wouldn't have left. Because Why would you leave if you know you're gonna be better next year and then possibly win it because you got that dude? That doesn't make sense to me. Unless you think the quarterback room is better in Alabama, and none of those guys have even started. You you went down to a room where no veteran experience over one of the most veteran guys in college football next year. So either you didn't believe he was that dude, or you believe that you can make a dude in a place where they make a ton of dudes.
Facts. Shamrocks and shenanigans. Wake Forest didn't have the best, most talented 3 different offensive position groups like Notre Dame.
We already said we're going to make.
First of all, I have to put a pause on that. The guards for Notre Dame this year were okay. Let's relax. You had really good tackles, and
Yeah.
Zeke Correll played his butt off. You
Yeah.
go watch the film, the guards were okay. Jared Patterson preseason, first round pick. After the film this year, maybe third. Maybe. Like, relax with that best O-line stop. Running backs, I'll give you. Definitely top 3 running back groups in the country. Tight ends, who's the dominant tight end receiving the ball this year? Who?
Michael Mayer.
No, I'm saying Michael Mayer's gone. Who? Eli Raridon's coming back from an ACL.
Mitchell
Who's that
Evans?
dude? Mitchell Evans? Come on,
That's
man.
gonna push,
Stop.
right?
Stop exaggerating. Stop exaggerating. It's literally someone. I talked to someone that was at the combine this year, and he said Sam Hartman might actually have his top 2 receivers at Wake Forest might be better than the top 2 wide receivers he has at Notre Dame this year. Because his top 2 were at the combine running 4.4s. Perry ran a 4.4. And we want to just like, who's that dude for Notre Dame? We don't know. We don't know. But everyone just acts like, man, that cat Sam Hartman was throwing the garbage at Wake Forest, while A.T. Perry goes to the combine and runs a 4.4 after putting up stats for 2 straight seasons. Like, all of a sudden, his wide receivers were trash. Come on, man. Come on. We got to be better than that. We have to be way more objective than that. We got to be way more objective than that. Holden Stays is not Michael Mayer.
No.
He's not. And this is why Sam Hartman cannot come here and play the role of Scottie Pippen to this running game. He can't. He has to be a dude. I'll take that bet. I'll take that bet. Here's the bet. One, you get to choose one wide receiver from Notre Dame that can match the career total of the last 2 years of A.T. Perry. Please, at Notre Dame. Please. I'll take that bet. Easy.
You said it yourself. You come to Notre Dame, you didn't come to Notre Dame at this point. If you come to Notre Dame at this point, you're not coming to be a stat patter Charlie Jones. You're coming to be a big playmaker in big moments throughout the season, which means you may not have 100 catches on for 1,000 yards in a year, but you may have 50 catches for 800 yards, but them 50 catches are in big moments in games because you're playing a role. We don't have, after Michael Mayer, I don't expect, especially with how recruiting is going, I don't expect to be force feeding any particular individual at Notre Dame until we get a 5-star skill player that's just unbelievable. But we have enough talent to where it's like, okay, you got to get Deion Colsey to rock. You got to get Styles to rock. JT's emerging as your number 1. You got all your running backs. You got your tight end, you still thriving. Quarterback can even run a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you can't. This is not a place that you're going to build a career from. Sort of like the receiver from Georgia. He was like, man, I went and got my championships playing a role. But let me go get these stats at Texas.
So here it is. Here it is. He said his choice is Tobias Merriweather. Tobias Merriweather has to put up 76 receptions for 1,150 yards and 13 touchdowns.
Yeah, you lost that bet.
You might as well send me the money right now. You can
Because
send that to me right now.
Else in the receiver room got hurt.
You can send that to me right now.
Yeah, you might as well send it right
We want to act like Sam Hartman was throwing the garbage. This dude averaged 75 catches the last 2 seasons with 1,150 yards, and he averaged 13 touchdowns.
Oh, you talking about touchdowns?
He averaged 13 touchdowns.
We didn't have a receiver have over 3.
And you go, please. That's a sucker bet.
Yeah, sucker bet.
That's a sucker bet. That's a sucker bet.
He had 13 touchdowns last year. We didn't.
No. Once again, I averaged his last 2 seasons.
Oh, you averaged him.
This is his average over the last 2. He averaged 76 receptions, 1,150 yards, and 13 touchdowns. But Sam Hartman was throwing the garbage. He was throwing the garbage at Wake Forest. He didn't have any talent at wide receiver at Wake Forest. But this man in 2 seasons put up 76, 1,150, and 13. He averaged 13. Had 16 touchdowns 1 year. Left 16.
If we ever had a receiver get 16 touchdowns, who
this dude Tobias Merriweather is about to break Michael Floyd and Golden Tate's record. That's basically what's about to happen.
He's about to be the #1 receiver in Notre Dame history. Because it's laughable because you know that shit. How? What is the team responsible to that? They're gonna be like, I'm leaving.
Oh man. Robert, I don't want to even take your money, man. I don't even want to take your money. Come on, man. We were begging for somebody to get over 800 yards. We were like, man, we just want a wide receiver to get over 800 yards.
On 50 catches. We wasn't even talking about a bunch of receptions. We was talking about how much can they make with a little bit of targets.
Man. My man, we love Michael Campbell. He said stats don't give context. What kind of context do you need, bro?
We only had the most receiver touchdown
over 70 receptions. What kind? We need context. Wait a minute. Do we need context for Charlie Jones putting up the numbers he put up? We need context for that too.
He already beat the whole room last year. He single-handedly beat our whole receiver room last year. And now all of a sudden, one guy is going to have more than – I believe Tobias Merriweather is going to have a monster year, though. But it ain't going to be those type of numbers.
Dude.
It's going to be a monster year through monster moments.
It's like, it's this the thing.
Touchdowns versus Ohio State. But I guarantee TSU, he probably won't get that many targets.
Let Sam Hartman be Sam Hartman.
Yeah.
Just let Sam Hartman be Sam Hartman. That's it. If he's the 6th or 7th best quarterback in college football next year, that's fine. That's fine. Notre Dame can win big games with him being the 6th best quarterback in the country next year.
Yeah.
But more than anything, he has to show up in big games. He cannot play a supporting role against the best teams.
Not against those 3, not in those 3 games.
And if you think that's how it's going to go, you're sadly mistaken.
We'll be 10-3 or
10-3, 9-4,
whatever.
With Tyler Buckner getting
the last
run late in the season.
Yeah.
What are we talking about, man?
We're taking the last quarter of the season. Like,
they literally told the starting quarterback, you need to find somewhere else to go.
Because you're not good enough.
And you think they told him to find somewhere else to go get a quarterback to play a supporting role?
We was trying to hire Tom Cruise or Will Smith. Not the B-list characters.
Yo. Sam Hartman can win a lot of games throwing for 250 yards. There's going to be 2 or 3 games. There's going to be 2 or 3 games, big games, that he's going to have to go out and
get
win it.
300
He's going to have to go out and win it. There's
with
going to be
like
a moment in a fourth quarter where he's going to have to ball out.
moment. Yeah. Can't even
Period.
say a number. Gotta say moments because he had 6 touchdowns and 300 and lost against Clemson.
What? Man, Michael Campbell's bugging today. I don't know what he's talking about. First of all, you're trying to say A.T. Perry stats are out of context. Okay. He did it for 2 seasons, but it's out of context. He goes to the combine, runs a 4.4, and tests off the charts. But it's you that want to tell me that Sam Hartman didn't have talent at Wake Forest. He was just throwing the garbage. You go ahead and continue your narrative. I know better. Like this dude he just elevated terrible players at wide receiver. Come on, man. Stop. Watch football. Watch football. Michael Penix, guess what he walked into? A great situation in Washington. With 2 first, dude, they have 2 receivers coming back that are first round picks projected in NFL draft.
That's why that offense coordinator not leaving.
That's why. That's one of the
First
that's
round.
why the offensive coordinator told Nick Saban to kick rocks.
He said, I got a first round quarterback, 2 first round receivers.
Like, dude, come to Alabama for what?
For what? Y'all, shoot. We're going to be better than y'all next year.
For what?
He said, I hope we play y'all next year while we talking. I got the squad.
Who's your running back that has to step up? Who has to be the dog in the room? So we can finish this show, bro. This segment went 30 minutes longer than it was supposed to.
Price.
JD, you got JD. Aldrich has to be that dude for me. I love Logan. Aldrich has to be that dominant dude. He just has to be. He has to. He's the one that strikes fear, in my opinion. That big dude,
yeah,
he has to be the dog for me.
I'll agree with that.
Offensive line, the tackles have to be the dudes. I mean, that's simple. The tight ends, who has to be the dude if someone does rise to the occasion? Who you have?
Y'all in the same level. Probably Mitchell Evans. I don't know.
I'll take Holden Staves. I'll take Holden Staves. I'll take Holden Staves. Who you have at wide receiver? I think we're gonna differ.
Who's got to be the big dog?
Yeah, it's only one proven dog
JT.
in the room.
JT got to be
okay. JT Lorenzo Styles is the only one that's proven it. He's the only one that's went out there and put 100-yard games against good teams.
Yeah,
he's the only one that's proven it. Until I see anything different, he's the dog in the room.
That's fair.
He's the dog. That's who
he's
the dog.
Last year, though.
Say it again.
I had him as my dog last year, Styles.
I think we kind of forgave everybody, and no point. Lorenzo had a rough year last year.
He didn't have his boy.
He had a rough year, and the quarterback play just like we understand that. We understand that.
The quarterback play was so bad, it was discouraging to one of our best receivers.
But we've seen him. We have JT hasn't gone out and put out 100 yards against a top 5 defense. We've seen Lorenzo Styles against a top 5 defense in a big game put up monster numbers. Period. He needs to be a dog. He needs to be a dog. And you need to step up. Because we've seen it. So we know the talent's there. We know the capabilities are there. Big dog. Make it happen. Make it happen. And feed them. Please feed them. If you got a dog, you got to get him the rock. You got to give him the rock. Now, that's what Sam Hartman does bring to the party. The ability to get the rock to multiple receivers.
That's right.
Who has to be the dog on the defensive line?
Probably Patello. If that's his successor, go be the successor then.
Mm. I'll rock with you on that. Yeah. Yeah. I'll rock with you on that. Let's go to the linebackers.
Prince Collie.
Mm.
I think he'll set the tone for Jalen Sneed as a big brother.
You got Prince. I'm gonna go ahead and say Jalen Sneed. I mean, you used to led me right into mine. If Jalen Sneed becomes a dude, that dog, oh, that defense is gonna take a step forward.
That's right.
Flat out. Flat out. I like Riley Mills too. With someone there in the chat. Riley Mills is a good candidate as well. Back end. Now, do you want to do the back end as a whole, or you want to do
That's
a
the whole
safety
Xavier
as a
Watts.
whole? I'm Xavier Watts is it for me as well. Because I expect Benjamin Morrison
They're gonna do their job.
because of Mike Mickens, the freshman cornerbacks, Benjamin Morrison, Clarence Lewis, Cam Hart. I expect them to play well. Xavier Watts on that back end. If he becomes a dude, man, that would be huge. Absolutely huge. I agree with that. Let's get to these super chats and comments before we get out of here, left. Coach Vic 574, fam, love y'all, but Hartman not top 10 is crazy talk. Did you say he wasn't top 10? I said he wasn't top 5.
Yeah, he's like 10 or 11,
Oh, okay.
maybe 12.
After the Utah, I'm not nearly as concerned about SC. Utah has a better defensive coordinator, in my opinion. So you don't have to be concerned about him. I'm just saying. That's just my personal opinion. Super chat, D-Monk, Mr. Food Lover. Stop. Let's be real. This is all Tommy. If Merriweather was the man, MM wouldn't have been getting all those catches. Michael Mayer wouldn't have been getting all those catches. Tobias Merriweather would have been the star. Once again, look, stop. It is the positional coach's job to make sure his players are ready to play. We can blame Tommy all we want to. Nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. So I don't do that low-hanging fruit left. Oh, it's all Tommy's fault. No. It's a full coaching staff. I just don't believe that. Let's see. Michael Campbell says Jared Parker has no pressure replacing a 30-year-old kid that shouldn't have been an offensive coordinator with full autonomy.
It ain't about him. It's about the where you at.
Yeah, he definitely has pressure.
Where you at is pressure, not who was there before you. Who was there before you didn't step up to the pressure, so he left the kitchen.
It's pressure, bro. Doma Wap, thank you. LL, can you expand on the power struggle that takes place between the players and coaches? Good insight on team dynamics. Power struggle that takes place. Players have to buy in, and then you can take it from here, left. I mean, players have to buy in to what the coaches are saying, and that can become an issue if you don't have full buy-in.
Players know if coaches know what they're talking about or not.
Fact, especially at Notre Dame.
If we don't feel like you know what you're talking about, it's just a natural miscommunication. It's like, man,
yes, right. That's why Notre Dame is different.
But that's your job. If you got your manager over here giving you all his work, or he don't have no idea what you're supposed to do, it's like, man, shut up.
It's like you bring something in for Notre Dame players to buy into, you best believe they're going to fact check it. Like but they're gonna make sure, like, man,
I mean, think about what Avery Davis thought of Dale Alexander when Avery Davis is going home, getting on YouTube, learning stuff. You're like, man, this man Dale is a fool. We don't do none of this at practice. Why I gotta get on YouTube? You know what I mean? So just imagine the meeting rooms when Dale trying to tell Avery, hey, I need you to get off the press. And you're like, man, shut up.
And Fender Bender says Styles isn't putting it together mentally. According to who?
Yeah, whatever.
According to who? Like, that narrative is out there, but according to who? According to who? Thank you, Robert. We love you, man. We love you. We're all about the mouth right here. That sounded crazy, didn't it, love?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
you're speaking for yourself on that one. I don't know if I can second that one.
Oh man. You know how you hear yourself and you're like, wait a minute. Hold on.
Yeah, you have to be like, run that back in your head. Run it back in your head. Like, did I put that together right? I don't know if that came off of.
Oh man. Yo, can I give you my candidates on the way out? Candidates to replace Mike Bray.
Okay.
What about John Beeline? Formerly the Michigan coach, went on to try to coach in the NBA, and now he's with the Detroit Pistons as an assistant. John Beeline has shown himself to be a really good recruiter. Great offense, movement with the ball, great shooting, similar to what Notre Dame was successful with under Mike Bray. And he's a known coach, known commodity. So I think he would be good. I expect Martin Inglesby, the coach of Delaware, who played for Mike Bray, played in Notre Dame, to be on the short list. Porter Mosier, possibly get him to come back to the Midwest from Oklahoma. He would be on my short list. I'm going to go ahead and say Darian Devines from Drake. He's done an incredible job at Drake. He would be on my short list. Ryan Humphrey, who played in Notre Dame, who's an assistant coach under Porter Mosier at Oklahoma. He would be on my short list as well. So,
if Phoenix don't win the championship this year, Monty Williams.
Hey, you know what? Excuse me. Monty would be
perfect for Notre Dame.
Monty would be a home run hire.
So, I know
home run hire. D-Rock Irish is petty. D-Rock Irish is petty. He said, check the buyout.
This Jack controls that too, huh? Dang.
Oh, dude.
I'll be thinking he just football's administration. He everything.
Yeah, dude, I'm that's a hard pass on JJ Redick for multiple reasons. I'll leave it at that. I don't want to get into
I like JJ Redick. He just his comments yesterday was oblivious.
Just too many. Nah, hard pass. Hard pass.
He's him or Christian Laettner from
JJ Redick has cleaned himself up a lot over the last few years. I'll leave it at that. He was a lot more like his Duke brethren that plays for the Milwaukee Bucks when he was younger.
About Grayson.
Yes, I'll leave it at that. He's cleaned himself up lately, and that's cool because you get an opportunity to change. You get an opportunity to change.
An opportunity, like you gotta give
an opportunity to change. Absolutely. So but Monty Williams, man, you can go get him immediately. Now you're gonna have me pulling for KD to go out in the first round. Left. Don't do that. Don't do that.
If they don't win,
don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. I don't want Monty to have to leave Phoenix like that, man.
I know, but it's the expectation.
Oh man,
if we had a Trevor Lawrence or a Jameis Winston or a Cam Newton at Notre Dame right now, Marcus Freeman would be on his way out too if we didn't win. Because the stakes are just it's too high that scares some coaches for even taking it.
Yeah.
They're like, man, I can't even collect a check at this school. We got to win or be out.
Yep. You know what time it is, Left.
Petticoat. Petticoat. Petticoat Junction.
It's time to get petty
Oh, we did a good job executing.
Are you upset with something?
and fire up the Petticoat Junction train.
I just don't like you.
You don't?
No.
What is today's petty history? Petty Junction.
Petty Junction, pettiest story of the day, brought to you by Onora Whiskey, OnoraWhiskey.com, that premium American whiskey, OnoraWhiskey.com. Let me tell you something, man. This is the pettiest thing I've heard in my life, dude. You know, I'm from Chicago, so I'm all about Chicago. You've heard of Tink. You've heard of Tink, right? Tink, artist from Chicago.
He's pretty
artist.
good and underrated, man. Still for this.
Yeah, she just put out a new project, but in promoting the new project, she had a move on from the next clothes drive. You heard what I said. She had a move on from your ex clothes drive. Well, she encouraged men and women to come to a location and give clothes and other belongings that they still had from their ex to give to charity. It's some dude that left his Jordans at his ex house, and she hasn't let him in to get it. That's gonna be real upset, bro. Let me tell you something. Because are you an Indian giver in those situations? Do you think you would be an Indian giver? You break up with somebody, you ask for like the jewelry back or the gifts back?
I think I'm not an Indian giver in that aspect because I just don't think people are genuine that do that kind of thing. It's like you put that pressure on me that if I don't do what you say or something that you're gonna take it back. If I didn't know you was like that, don't be just offering stuff because if you offering, it would be rude for me not to accept. But I'm accepting under terms and conditions I ain't read. I didn't know. So I'm not a petty person like that. It's like, man, you ain't, do yourself something nice with it.
Yeah. I'm not like that either. Like, I don't want any, if I'm done with you, I don't want any remnants of you around.
Like the dude, I saw one where the dude took the engine out of this girl's car when they broke up.
The Heart Foundation said he said I had to go get that wedding ring, champ.
Bands like that, you might have to. But
wait a minute. So, Heart Foundation, were you engaged or were you actually married? He said, as a single dad and all the money I already left behind with the ex-wife, I had to have the ring back. So he went and got his ring back from his ex-wife.
That's more sentimental stuff, I guess.
I don't want a ring, man. Keep that stuff. I don't want that. I mean, well, sometimes people just give it back voluntarily, right?
Yeah, if you argue,
it's a breakup. They're arguing with you. Yeah, okay. Okay, he says he was engaged to get married. Okay, that explains it a little bit better. Yeah, if I'm engaged, yeah, give me my ring back. Is there anything I would take
maybe a car?
A car. I was just about to say a car.
Because
right?
That's insurance and shit.
Because I think when they broke up, Sweetie was mad that Quavo took the Bentley he bought her back, right?
Yeah, but I'd do that too. It was in my name. Can't mess up your credit.
That's a perk, right? That's a perk of being with me.
Credit.
I guess. Well, that kind of shames him because he couldn't even just outright buy it. I guess. I just thought that was petty of Tink to have an ex clothes drive to try to promote her album. That was mad petty. She lives in Atlanta now, so it's a lot of people in Atlanta mad that stuff is now the property of someone else because of charity.
That's petty.
Real petty. See you guys tomorrow, man. Another great show. I think the players meet with the media tonight and we'll have video from that and talk about some of the comments from some of the early enrollees. I know Caleb Smith, transfer from Virginia Tech, talks to the media, and then Joe Rudolph and Coach Biaggi both talk to the media as well. Have a great Wednesday, but most of all, make sure that you spin it